Hello, everyone. So I already said in the chat, I think for AI agent applications, the personal workflow is the most important thing to optimize and work on and iterate over. And I think I want to show my workflow, like the one that I currently use, what I'm currently using as my go-to workflow. It's obviously quite in flux, just given like all the developments, but that's what my current go-to workflow. I generally start out just in a blank terminal in the development folder. And yeah, then start a bunch of tools. So what I will do is basically go through all the tools I use, go through the setup I do, and then hope to inspire you to do something similar, so we can figure out how to best approach our development process with agents and how to best optimize and leverage this new technology. Cool. So the first tool I generally start is Zelige. Zelige. I don't really know how to really pronounce that. But it's a terminal multiplexer, and what that basically allows you to run multiple terminals combined in like one session. That's great for specifically AI applications, because I can actually take that session and share it over a web browser and move on to another computer and just continue my session on my desktop on the more powerful computer while using my laptop to control it. Another thing it does is you can basically exit it, and then when you start again, it will give you the option to look into all of the sessions that you had before. For example, here with the session manager, and then basically open previous sessions. It's great, especially if you have to do things like token management with agents. What happens some of the time is that if I work on something with, like, let's say Codex, and it runs out of tokens, I want to move on to a different task, and my different task is already set up in my session, so I just load my session as everything running already. Cool, but this time we start with a fresh session. So when I start with a fresh session, the first thing I do is basically go on whatever project you want to work. I pick the project I'm currently working on. It's something I never really worked on, I don't really have any experience about, and that's why it's a good thing to show my AI workflow, because there's nothing really that I bring in upfront. Which is one of the powers of like a coding agent. Actually gives you the ability to build applications that you haven't built before, like way faster than you otherwise would ever have been able to. Cool. So we start our terminal multiplexer. We go into, in this case here, terminal mode, do synchronized, and that just allows me to chase the directory in all terminals at the same time. Where I just do std and change my working directory into the prepared directory. I already prepared the directory here. You can have a look at that. As you can see, I'm still in sync mode, so let's turn it off so we only look at one. But basically what we set up is, so I did some setup prep work before. It's basically just creating projects with .NET, creating a solution and putting all of this in one solution. The reason why I do that up front, before even starting work with the coding agent, is because it's so simple. I don't really want to like waste tokens on it, basically. I just set up the project, and then we also have something that we start on. Like, it already knows to a certain extent what we're building. So the first other tool I start is Hunk. And what Hunk is basically it's a diff tool. And as you can, and the diff tool is basically showing you, it has a watch mode, and it's basically showing you all the diffs that happen in your work directory while you're working at it. And as you can see, there's already something in my working directory. And it is a good opportunity now for you to, like, there's a diff already. And that's because I already wrote the spec, which I talk about in a second. But it's a good opportunity to show you the next important tool. The next important tool I use is Jujitsu. And Jujitsu is basically, it's JJ. And what JJ is, it is a basically Git compatible version management system. It uses Git for remote storage, but locally it has like its own storage, which makes managing versions of software applications a much nicer task. It basically allows you to manage all of your change sets in revisions that form a tree, and you can freely move from revision to revision. So if you look at my JJ history here, for example, which you can always look at with JJ log, we see that we're currently on this task here, which I basically described to say fr.obs.cat, which is the name of the tool that I want to first build. That's why you see the spec for it. And that's the task we currently work on. That's what you see with the add, or the change that we currently work on. If I want to work on something else, I can just swap to a different change set, for example, JJ edit. And then the number here of the change set, and we don't really have to write the whole one or the whole ID. We just need to use the first character, basically, in this case. Like JJ tells you which one to pick by the number there. So let's just go to O, and you will see, O, and you will see exactly the changes that happened during that change set. And that's basically the project setup I talked about before. So I can basically now jump back and forth between different change sets and have a look at those. And Hunk, as you saw, that Hunk like automatically updated based on the changes in my change set. So these changes are not very interesting because they're just project setup, but generally that's very, very powerful for me to like be able to jump back and forth between different like change set that I want to store. So now, if we look at the log again, we see that we're currently on this task here. And we also see that there's an empty change set here. So let's just open the empty one just to see how an empty change set looks like. So in this case, JJ edit L. Look at this, and you see that Hunk doesn't have any changes. Cool. So the next tool we have is LazyVim, and that's just a text editor. It uses like Vim key bindings, and it has like it's built on NVim, NeoVim, and it's basically just a text editor that I use to look at my text. So then we basically start the calling agent on the last window. And in this case, I'll just use Claude. It's my, sorry, not Claude. I use Codex for a personal account because it currently has tokens left over. Cool. So that's basically the setup at the beginning. Okay, once we did all of this, we can now start working on the project. What we want to do is basically build OBS cat. So that's to say, I use OBS to record this video. And in OBS, it basically has a text, like a text source, and you can basically set that text source with a call over the web API, or the WebSocket API in OBS, and it will basically show the text there. So currently there's just a placeholder text in there. So here, sorry, the cat that takes a file and prints it onto the terminal. Cool. So as I said, I already prepared a spec for that, and that's because my current workflow is actually quite spec-driven, which means what I do is I start with like a quick outline of a spec. Let's just switch into these to work the Fujitsu workspace. Change that. That we need to use here. We already put the the specification, the start of the specification. As you can see, it immediately shows me in Hank. One of the nice things I did too is I created an AI coding agent, skill, that can basically use my text editor here and show me files. Let's try that here. So I have a spec in fr-obs-tools.md. Oh, that's not really right. fr-obs tools. That's basically fr-obs cat. That's right. So fr.obs.cat/readme.md. You show me the spec in my text editor according fr workflow skill. Now I should be able to basically open that file and open it in my text editor. Let's see what actually happens. There you go. All right, cool. That is our specification. And let me just make it so that we can read it a little bit better by resizing those a little bit. Cool. Okay, so this is what we start with. Quite simple, just describes the business logic. Let's give us a little bit of assumptions, but let's just walk through it real quick. So basically takes the contents of a file and passes them to a text source in OBS. Technology C#.NET console app. Takes command line arguments. It needs the name of the text source, needs the OBS login information, and then it puts an argument, which is the file name. And then there's a business logic described that basically the application checks the command line arguments. If they're missing ones, it prints like simple help. If one of the optional arguments is not supplied, it uses the default, which is basically here for the port number, the IP, like default 4455, default local host. And then basically it takes the file, reads the contents, puts the message together and sends it. The only thing I said basically is that it should use this OBS WebSocket library. So that's what I want to run with, right? So let's see what happens if I give that to my AI agent. Just want to close the file real quick. Buffer. Cool. Oh. Okay, so the first thing what to do, because you're basically moving on to a new task, is basically create a new log. Yeah, sorry, you do change that. Just have a look at the log. Okay, cool. At the right place, and we can just do JJ new. And that gives us an empty change set. As you can see, like Hank is empty now. Like we know there are no changes anymore. And now we're starting with a basically blank slate in terms of like change tracking, which is nice because we can basically now ask the agent to do its thing and update basically our documentation or spec. So basically, hey, I added a spec, and maybe we should give him the idea of what we want to do. Hey, we want to implement fr.obs obs.cat, basically a cat for OBS text sources. And then can you review this spec? You can find in the project readme.md. We have Hank running, and I think should be possible to use the review skill. So let's see if it actually finds our Hank. Sometimes it doesn't happen. There's like some kind of sketchy communication going on between the two, but let's see. Oh, I see. That's right. All right, cool. So it says it's running Hank, but there are no changes in there, so it can't really review them. That's okay. All right. Oh, there we go. See, it actually loads the parent change. Like it's so intelligent that it goes back to parent change. So it can attach the review notes to the document then. Mm. It's probably the sandbox for the Codex agents. Let's see. I just allowed it to do sandbox things, and you can see like on the Hank view, it actually added review comments to all the places where we. Oh, that's right. It already tells me there's no username, which there isn't. So great. So you can just tell him you write this up 10 about 10. Let's update that in the spec. And I just update the review comment that left and update it to the spec. And you can see like the R, like it's always referencing the line number, just in case you wonder where the number comes from. All right, sandbox problem. Let's just tell it that JJDiff can do JJDiff. Cool. And it tells me to change that. Nice. And then what do we have? R19. The non-argument failure cases next to behavior from implementation covers missing string arguments, which would also need dependency behavior for unreadable files and report values. Missing non-text. This is what I like. This is much easier to script if use all write a concise error to std and return a non-secure code. Yep, that sounds cool. With R19, can you specify a useful behavior there? While the agent is working, I'll just move on reading R31. Option remains do not match the command line argument section. Well, okay, good. All right, you read about R31. 31. We also should drop username. Username there, which I think you already did. And already did. Let's use the names currently defined in the argument section. Cool. So we do that, and then we have R34, specify the concrete OBS WebSocket operation input setting key for text updates. It's like perfect. Set input settings sounds correct. Can you verify this in docs? Let's see if you can actually pull some. There you go. It basically pulls all of that stuff down. Looks in GitHub. And hopefully can tell us what exact function we have to call, because I don't know. I would have to Google anyway. So might as well. Might as well Codex handle it. All right, protocol confirms that input settings. Nice. All right, seems to be like we have everything. Let's check the one more last time. One last time. Are we ready? So it's like one last review, and then after that, it's ready to go. What we do is basically create a new JJ chain set, Jiu-Jitsu chain set, so that we have like start with an empty chain set again, and that helps us to actually look at exactly the changes the agent will do during the implementation. That's right. So we send. Cool. And you reset Hunk so that it shows the current diff again. Now the current change thing. Cool. There we go. So now we have Hunk. And as you can see now, we see all the changes that the agent did for the review in that change. Cool. Let's see with JJ. We're currently here. What did we do? So now as I generally do is like I describe what I did, so they have like a record of it basically. So what did we do? We did spec update, review and update with Codex. And then we do JJ new, and then JJ new creates like a new empty change. Okay. So empty change set, ready to go. And then we go, hey, all right, okay, let's go. And will implement it. And because we have Frank on the left-hand side, you'll see over time, like it fills the code. So now it's basically actually looking into the spec, well, not the spec, but the documentation of the package we want to use, and looks at what methods are exposed. I disabled the watch mode. I see. How can I restart it? That's interesting. I need to figure out. All right, whatever. Let's just start hack again so we can see the changes. But that's basically what I want to see here. Let's edit the package and then basically started the program. You can see what it does. Yep, it basically connects to OBS. Looks if the key it wants to change has the text, and then changes the text. Pass the arguments, write an error, writes a help, reads the file here, writes an error if it can't. So it looks pretty good. Try pass arguments. Okay, just basically going through all the arguments to pass them. Seems to be okay too. This is where me personally I'd have put in a library, but as it said, it's so simple, it doesn't really need it. It's perfectly fine decision, basically. Read the file, nicely abstracted. That's it, it compiled it once, so we have the file here, which also means my gitignore doesn't work correctly, apparently. As you can see, it adds all of these. Do I want to remove those? Let's not worry about removing them. Removing them. Can we see why the .gitignore didn't catch them? I guess we don't have one. In that case, that's an appropriate one for the project. Okay, that's basically to get out like all of the binaries here, like filter out all the things in object, filter all of the things in like debug and stuff like that. There you go. At the gitignore, you can see the diff immediately. Bam, clean. Very nice. Or clean, yeah. Oh, because it's already snapshotted. All right, so cool. So they basically just removed them. There you go. So it basically cleans that up too. It's quite nice. It's up my repository. No, I just listed file unchecked files in for the session. Well, generally. Because again, we always have like the revision history. It doesn't really untrack it from everything, but from that revision history, which for us is exactly what we want. That's what we're currently working on. I restarted. Fine. To get back to diff mode, silencing. Cool, just tell him you don't really have to worry about updating Hunk because you're in diff mode, just so he doesn't do it right now. And now he understands. And then basically, as you can see, the change head is quite clear now. So that's it. Now we did basically the implementation in one run. What I want to do now is testing. And what I do for testing is generally just create a new change set again. Probably guessed it already. But the idea there is basically that a new change set will help us to keep everything nice and clean. So we describe what we just did. We just do actually implementation of fr.obs.cat. And then we do JJ new to create a new change set that's again empty. And for some reason, Hank has a problem of watching. I have to figure out what's going on there. But empty change set now. Empty change set, no description. Oh, by the way, what ultimately happens is what we do is if this would be a Git repository, but well, it is a Git repository, but it doesn't have a remote yet. But if it would be a Git repository with a remote yet, there would be a bookmark main, and you basically have the bookmark main that you can then move to a certain change set and then push that bookmark into Git. What JJ will do is basically create a branch that is named as the bookmark, and then have all of this the commit, like the change sets here in like it puts that into commits in your Git history. So like it creates like a very nice Git Git branch that you can then use as a PR. Basically, that's one other reason why I like using it. Makes it very easy to create like very nice setups there. Okay. Testing. OBS cat. Now we do .NET run. .NET run is just to run .NET, and then we do all of our parameters. We just do .NET run because it should tell us what the parameters are actually. That's one of our requirements. Oh, there we go. Cool. See, this is how we run it. So go back here, add all of the parameters. There we go. And then we just have to replace basically. All right, text source name. My text source name is run.obs.cat. My password is, I see my password now, but I guess that's okay. It's only running on localhost anyway. Let's copy our, yes, I want to show it the next thing. There you go, copy this, paste here. So if that would be available over the internet, you could connect to my OBS now. And then which file do we want to look at? Let's see. I guess we just have a look at the README because it was so nice. Doesn't really seem to work. Let's hang. So if it hangs, that generally means the call doesn't go anywhere. So that's weird. So let's see. OBS, so IP. One movie is what? I think it's 4455. It doesn't really work. All right. Interesting. Okay, let's see if the real IP works. 192.168.0.217. Oh, similar result. Okay, so I guess we need to ask our coding agent to debug that for us. I tried running the project directory, but it did stall. Looks as if the car goes no. I have another app connected to the same WebSocket though. So I think it's generally working. Okay, so it tries to just to make sure that it's available, not that we have like the wrong information or something. Okay, so it connects. That's good. So it has made sure that you can actually connect to it. Cool. Okay, so it says it should work better. So let's try that out. Ah, alright, I just tried the normal. Oh well, okay. He tried if he can. That's why, yeah, it should be able to reach that. Seems to be timing out though. That's interesting. Text those change. Hmm. Hmm. Looks like it's starting in the service itself, then the client library or something. Let's see if the agent figures it out. Oh, look, there's found like some problem with the disconnected event. That might be an issue too. Let's see. Body is connected boolean with disconnected event. Okay. Now we're waiting for him to test with port not reachable, things like that. Just to make sure that the timeout behaves like he wished to. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is one of the problems with the key bindings here. Come on, can you just copy that? Good. Oh. Can you give me commands? Let's see if it still knows what we were doing last. Doesn't look like it. Oh, let's see. There you go. Cool. Update complete.